My name is Colette Kane, Director in the Northern Ireland Audit Office, and I led the team that produced this report. This report is a follow-up to a previous report on special educational needs, which we published in 2017. In our 2017 report, we concluded that neither the Department of Education nor the Education Authority could demonstrate value for money in terms of economy, efficiency or effectiveness in the provision of support to children with special educational needs in mainstream schools. We made 10 recommendations at that time. This follow-up report sought to determine the progress made by the Department and the Education Authority in implementing our recommendations, and to consider any other developments in this very important area. I will now highlight the key findings from this latest report. In 2019-20, there were 67,224 children with reported special educational needs, representing 19.3% of the school population. This figure shows the main categories of special educational needs. The majority of children have cognition and learning difficulties, which includes dyslexia and difficulties with language, literacy and numeracy. The cost of providing for children with special educational needs has increased substantially, as this figure shows. In 2019-20, the cost totaled £312 million. The majority of this spend is made through the Education Authority. We concluded in the report the growing levels of expenditure are not sustainable under the current funding mechanisms. This figure shows the Education Authority expenditure on support for children with a statement of special educational needs. Since 2015-16, the cost of support for children with a statement attending mainstream schools has escalated from £79 million to £134 million in 2019-20, an increase of 70%. This figure shows the 5-stage approach to the identification of special educational needs, which is included in the Code of Practice provided as a guide to schools and the Education Authority. The first 3 stages are school-based, with Stage 3 to include external specialists. At Stage 4, the Education Authority is responsible for undertaking a statutory assessment, and at Stage 5, the Education Authority is responsible for the additional provision outlined in any statement issued. This figure shows the increase in the number of children with special educational needs as a percentage of the school population. In 2019-20, 5.5% of the school population had a statement of special educational needs, compared with the 2% the Department anticipated in the Code of Practice, and in England, where the equivalent figure for 2020 was 3.3%. The majority of the cost of providing support for children with a statement is through the provision of classroom assistance, and as this figure shows, this has increased substantially over the last number of years. In our 2017 report, and again in this report, we have highlighted that a statement may be considered a gateway to resources and funding, as support for children without a statement must come from either the school budget or through the Education Authority funded pupil support services at Stage 3. It remains our view that the current funding arrangements need to be reviewed to ensure the needs of all children with special educational needs are met. This should include assessing the potential impact of directing more resources to support children without a statement in an effort to maximise the effectiveness of early intervention measures which might reduce the need for statementing. I previously mentioned pupil support services, and this figure shows the types of support available to children without a statement of special educational needs. Both this figure and the previous figure showing the provision of classroom assistance highlight key areas of spend for children with special educational needs in mainstream schools. In our report, we have highlighted that despite our previous recommendations, there is an absence of any meaningful evaluation of support and interventions for children with special educational needs. It is our view that the evaluation of support will provide an evidence base to ascertain which support services provide the best outcomes for children with special educational needs with or without a statement. In our previous report, we had highlighted the delays in the assessment and statementing process. In 2017, we noted that 79% of statements were processed outside the 26-week statutory target. During this review, we found that in 2019-20, performance had deteriorated to 85%, with an average wait time of 45 weeks. This review also noted that the Education Authority are not accurately or consistently recording start times for the commencement of the statementing process, and therefore the data held by the Education Authority is not accurate. Staying on the issue of the assessment and statementing process, we also noted a significant increase in the number of appeals against the Education Authority for either its refusal to assess or reassess a child's special educational need. This figure also indicates that the majority of the appeals made are conceded by the Education Authority or go to tribunal. The report also found the majority of cases that do go to tribunal are found in favour of the parents or carers. On an encouraging note, this figure shows the increase in children with special educational needs leaving school with qualifications such as GCSE and A-levels. Furthermore, these figures show the increase in children with special educational needs moving into further and higher education after leaving school, whilst there has been a decrease in those going into training or employment. In conclusion, our review noted that whilst work was underway to address the recommendations we had made in our 2017 report, the same significant issues exist. It has been over 13 years since the Department commenced a review of special educational needs, and this has cost nearly £3.6 million to date and is still not complete. There is still no evidence that children with special educational needs are being assessed in a consistent and timely manner. Delays throughout the special education needs process persist, and the support provided has not been evaluated to assess its effectiveness. Our key recommendation is that the Department and the Education Authority need to carry out an urgent review of special educational needs processes, policies and procedures. We remain of the view that the Department and the Education Authority still cannot demonstrate value for money in the provision of support to children with special educational needs. Thank you for listening.